If you're heading into a job interview and you're quietly hoping this, please let this be a normal place to work, then this video is for you. Because most people walk into interviews thinking, I hope they like me. But here's the truth. You should also be asking this, do I even want to work here? And I've learned this actually the hard way. You see, over my career, I've been on both sides of the interview table. I have interviewed many candidates, and I have also been interviewed. And throughout my career, I have accepted roles that I have truly enjoyed, but yet there could have been some red flags that I missed along the way in the interview process that would have better informed me of what I was getting into. You see, the interview can tell you many things because toxic workplaces usually reveal themselves early. Most people just don't know what to look for. So in today's video, I want to help you. I want to show you the biggest interview red flags to be aware of. And it's these red flags that actually signal a toxic workplace before you even sign the employee agreement. And more importantly, I'm going to show you the questions that actually expose these toxic workplaces. So let's get started. Point number one, remember this. The interview starts before the interview. And I want to say that again. The interview starts before the interview. You see, the first red flag can show up before you even walk through the door because toxic cultures leak into small interactions that you have. They leak into how the organization treats candidates. And how they treat candidates often reflects how they treat their own employees. So pay attention to these key things. Pay attention to poor communication, or maybe even last-minute schedule changes, or confusion or confusing instructions, or maybe chaos when you arrive. And if the hiring process feels disorganized, imagine what meetings would be like. Imagine what projects would be like, or deadlines would be like. So watch the environment. Does the reception that you get feel tense? Do employees look exhausted as you look around? Are people being respectful to each other? And here's the question I want you asking yourself. If they're this chaotic with candidates, what happens once you work there? Point number two. Be aware of the family language. Now, I have used this as an interviewer. I've used the family language because some workplace phrases actually sound warm, and I meant in the interview, I meant that we have a family environment, but they can also be warning signs in disguise. And one of the biggest ones is this statement, we're like a family here, and I've actually used that statement. But I want you to listen carefully. Healthy workplaces, which I have been part of, care about people. But toxic workplaces often use family language to actually blur boundaries or to justify overworking their employees or to justify having inconsistent treatment. Sometimes the word family really means this, no boundaries. And you'll also hear phrases like, we work hard and play hard around here. We all wear multiple hats. We go above and beyond. Now, none of those automatically mean toxic, but I want you to listen to those statements very carefully. Are they describing the culture emotionally, or are they describing it structurally? Because healthy workplaces will talk about clear onboarding, professional development, defined expectations, strong leadership systems, and that's what stability actually sounds like. Point number three, evasive answers will tell you the actual truth. Because the most revealing moment in an interview is often when they ask this question, they being the interviewers. Do you have any questions for us? But here's the problem. Most candidates actually waste this opportunity. Strong candidates use it strategically because good questions expose culture. I encourage you to ask things like this. How does the team handle conflict? What does success look like after 6 months here? What's the biggest challenge facing the team right now? And then after you ask those questions, watch carefully how those questions are answered. Because by watching carefully and observing, that will tell you more than words themselves. Red flags sound like this. Oh, we never have conflict. That's a red flag. Or maybe red flags sound like vague answers. Because different interviewers sometimes will give vague answers while they're avoiding being specific. And also, different interviewers contradict each other. That's a red flag. Or maybe you see awkward body language. Maybe they're looking at each other before answering the question. Maybe they have some nervous energy about that. Healthy teams will actually answer directly. Toxic teams will often dodge. Point number 4, research turnover before you accept. A role being open is not always the problem, but a pattern of roles being open is. High turnover is one of the strongest warning signs in business. If people keep leaving, there's usually a big reason related to that. Before interviews, I want to encourage you to actually research the company. Maybe by looking at LinkedIn or asking questions of others. There's some resources online that you could find out history about the company. But ask in the interview, how long has this role been open? How many people have been in this position recently? And why did the previous person leave? Those questions will be interesting because I want you to pay attention to how they're answered. Are they answered in a vague type format, or are they answered defensively, or are they answered specifically? Because healthy organizations will be transparent and they'll be specific. Point number 5, ask for the information you need. If they offer you the job, that does not mean that the interview is over, because the interview is truly not over then. Too many people feel pressure to accept quickly when they get an offer. But I want to say this, and I mean it. This is your life. It is your energy. It is your future, and you are allowed to ask questions. A job offer is not a command. It's actually a decision. Ask for clarity if needed around that offer. Ask about the team structure of the organization. Ask about current challenges that they may be seeing in the organization. Ask for time to review the offer. I wouldn't recommend to be too long in time, but ask for time if you need to review the offer. A healthy employer will respect thoughtful decisions. Point number 6, their reaction is the final test. And this actually might be the biggest red flag of all. It's not sometimes what you ask. It's how they react when you ask the question. Healthy employers won't inform employees. Toxic employers often get irritated by reasonable questions. You see, pressure is information, so pay attention to it. If they rush you or apply pressure to you or dismiss your concerns, or maybe even if they act annoyed because you want clarity, that should just tell you everything. Because if they block information before you're hired, imagine what's going to happen after you start. Interviews are not just one-way tests. You are evaluating them just as much as they are evaluating you. And toxic workplaces will often reveal themselves long before the employee agreement is actually signed. But once you find that right opportunity, you still need to know how to stand out and actually get hired. And this is why I think your next step truly matters. I did a video that says psychology says you can land any job once you understand these 6 principles. And I want to encourage you to go and watch it. I believe it will completely change how you approach interviews. And if this video has actually helped you, subscribe to my channel. I enjoy every week recording videos and helping professionals navigate toxic workplaces, navigate leadership topics, communication, and navigate career growth. And in the comments, I ask you to tell me this. Tell me this, what's the biggest interview red flag you have ever seen? As we serve together, Dr. Jeff.